we finally have some exciting news to share. The government was able to pass a bill to avoid a government shutdown. Now, this is some great news. However, there is still a lot more that needs to be done. The government avoided a shutdown as of 12 a.m. But now they still need to raise the debt ceiling, which would allow the government to continue to print money and to spend money to pay for its obligations. The Republicans still don't want to help the Democrats out with any of this, as well as Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell wants the Democrats to raise its own debt ceiling on their own. Now, in addition to that, the Democrats are still hoping that they can find a way to pass those two infrastructure bills, the physical infrastructure, which is the bipartisan bill, and that social spending bill that includes money for social programs like Social Security as well as Medicare and the child tax credit. Both of these bills are being held up by two specific senators, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, who both are in disagreement with paying that massive $3.5 trillion for the social spending bill. But both believe that the amount of the bill should be lower. But on the flip side, the bipartisan bill is already approved of, but just needs the final vote coming from the House of Representatives, which probably won't happen because progressives have ultimately forced a delay on the infrastructure vote. They are demanding that both bills are passed at the same time. Now, President Biden said he may be open to a scaled-back price tag, but the most important thing is to keep the stimulus packages linked together. Biden told reporters that it doesn't matter whether it takes 6 minutes, 6 days, or even 6 weeks. We're going to get it done regardless. And if the Democrats are unable to get it done, President Biden's reputation can really be tarnished and the Democratic Party could be in trouble. Biden's poll numbers have already plummeted, so he really needs this large stimulus package to boost his credibility back up with the American people. Now, before we jump into the video, hey, welcome and glad to have you. On this channel, we talk about finance, real estate, credit cards, Bitcoin and crypto, and stimulus update news. So if you're interested in any of those, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me. That way you can join our community. Also, if you end up liking the content in this video or even laughing at one of my jokes, then be sure to like this video. Other than that, guys, hey, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay guys, super great news. Congress was able to avoid a government shutdown. The House and the Senate was able to pass legislation on Thursday evening to fund the government until December the 3rd. Now, this is some great news, but don't get me wrong, there is still a lot more work that needs to be done. Congress still has to worry about the debt ceiling increase. This is the amount of the money that the government has to spend on paying for its obligations, and they are slowly reaching that tipping point. Right now, the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that the U.S. government could run out of money in the next 3 weeks, which is around October the 18th. But that is just an estimate. They could run out of money even sooner than that, or it could be even later than that. We just don't know, guys. But if Congress is unable to raise the debt ceiling, the United States could default, which would be the first time in American history. It seems like the Republicans want the country to fail because they just refuse to work with the Democrats on approving of a debt ceiling increase. The GOP has vowed for months that they would not help the Democrats in any way. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell suggested that the Democrats raise the debt ceiling on their own using the budget reconciliation process. But there are some concerns with using that method. For starters, they don't even have enough votes to increase the debt ceiling with the budget reconciliation process. And for number two, even if they did, they don't have enough time to make it happen. With the Democrats having less than 3 weeks, time is not on their side. The House Budget Committee Chairman, John Yarmuth, said that he has been urging Nancy Pelosi several times in the past to just raise the debt ceiling to $1 gazillion to make it inoperable for years to come. But now, with 3 weeks remaining, there is almost not enough time to get it done. Yarmuth believes that the U.S. will actually default. Well, what happens if the country does default? Who loses the most? Well, Social Security is at risk if the U.S. defaults. In this article right here posted on CBS, it talks about the federal payments that the U.S. makes that are at risk if there was a default to happen. Number one, Social Security payments for October the 20th and the 27th are at risk of missing out on payments if the United States defaults. It says that about 65 million Americans receive Social Security benefits each month, including 46 million retired workers, each getting more than $1,500 a month, and more than 8 million people, disabled workers, receiving more than $1,200 a month. Some $90 billion in payments are slated to go out in the course of a month in October. So if the U.S. runs out of money by October the 18th, then those following payments would not be made, which would cause our Social Security recipients to struggle even more than before, as if they hasn't done enough already. And then number two, child tax credit payments are due on October the 15th. Now, these would come before the estimated date of October the 18th. But if the U.S. runs out of money before the 15th, then some 35 million families with 60 million children would not receive those monthly child tax credit payments. And then number three, veterans payments could also be in jeopardy. The nation's veterans who receive monthly benefits that range from disability compensation to pensions to survivor benefits could be affected as well. So a default could cause those payments after October the 15th to be delayed to those who've served and their families. This would also affect active military salaries as well. And then number four, federal salaries for federal employees could be affected. Those federal salaries for October the 15th and the 29th could be delayed if a default happens. About 2 million people in federal workforce could be delayed. Those salaries are paid bi-weekly. And then we have the fifth one, which is Medicaid is at risk. More than 80 million people are enrolled to receive benefits. If the government can't make those payments, it could delay those payments to the Medicaid programs. And then number six, the SNAP food stamp benefits are also at risk. This is the food stamp program where 42 million people participate every month. Each person receives around $200 per person per month. And if the U.S. defaults on its obligations, payments could be delayed weeks or even months. So, as you can see, a lot of people could be affected by this, and it gets even worse depending on how long the country is in default after it actually happens. This could end up resulting in another recession. Now, moving on in regards to the two stimulus packages, it does look like the ending result of these two stimulus bills is going to lead to a reduction on the price tag. This would probably happen during the negotiation phase. Joe Manchin has been very clear that he doesn't want to approve of any bill that's more than $1.5 trillion. So, considering Manchin's vote is very crucial to passing legislation, they will probably negotiate the price tag down even lower. Even President Biden has been floating around the idea of a $2 trillion price tag instead of $3.5 trillion. This doesn't meet the criteria that Manchin suggests, but it's a start to get the negotiations moving along. Perhaps Manchin can meet in the middle to this price tag. So, even though Nancy Pelosi has had to delay the vote on the $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill, she still vows to continue to move forward.
Not doing anything. I plan on moving forward in a positive way. And everybody has to think that this is the path we're on. It's not a fork in the road, maybe here, maybe there. It's a path that we're on. And right now, as I've said, we had a great morning, lots of conversations as we come to the end. Let me just tell you about negotiating. At the end, that's when you really have to weigh in. You cannot tire. You cannot concede. So,
Pelosi believes that they have made a lot of progress so far and no time to stop now. So far, she has postponed that vote at least 2 times, but I'm not exactly sure of when she can expect to have this vote to move forward. Obviously, when she feels confident that the bill will have enough votes to pass. It's going to be interesting to see how the Democrats are going to be able to pass both of these bills at the current price tag. They need some type of serious negotiations to happen in order to get Manchin to agree with a fourth stimulus bill. I really hope he ends up supporting both packages for the sake of this country as well as for the sake of the American people who are struggling right now. But if he has it his way, then a smaller package than $3.5 trillion is still good. But let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Anyways, hey, my time is up for today. This has been your fourth stimulus check update for today. Now, if you enjoy any of this information or found it to be useful, be sure to hit the like button for us. It definitely helps out a lot, and it also tells YouTube to share this video with others. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for me so that you can be a part of this community, and hit the notification bell to be notified of each new video. Again, as always, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you